The moment my wife walked back into that empty house, she finally understood something terrifying. I had planned my disappearance before her plane even touched the runway. Megan called me at 1:12 in the morning while dragging her suitcase through the front door. I watched the call vibrate across my screen from a rental cabin nearly 1,100 miles away in western Montana. I let it ring twice before muting it. Then I stared at the security feed one last time. She stepped into the kitchen first. Most people do when they come home from a trip. Habit exposes panic faster than words. Her shoulders stayed loose for exactly 4 seconds. Then she saw the counter. Her wedding ring sat beside a sealed manila envelope and the spare garage key. The color drained from her face so fast, it looked surgical. She called my name once. Calm. Casual. The way people speak when their brain still believes control exists. Then she walked upstairs. Faster this time. Closet doors slammed open. Drawers yanked out. Empty hangers swung side to side. My side of the closet looked erased with military precision. Boots gone. Watches gone. Passport gone. Laptop dock disconnected. Even the framed photo from our 10th anniversary had vanished from the dresser. She grabbed her phone again. Another call. Another voicemail. Ethan, what the hell is this? I muted that one too. 3 days earlier, I stood in my garage holding a protein shaker bottle I'd never seen before. Matte black. Cheap plastic. A faded logo from some Miami rooftop gym printed on the side. Megan unpacked in a hurry before leaving for her girls' trip, and she missed one detail. Inside the bottle sat 2 packets of electrolyte powder and a folded receipt from a bar called Azul Terrace. 2 vodka reservations. 1 private cabana booking. 1 charge signed under Tyler Brooks. At first, I told myself the obvious lie. Corporate mistake. Shared tab. Group billing. Married men become experts at manufacturing excuses because the truth costs more. Then my phone buzzed at 2:14 a.m. the next night. Unknown number. 1 video attachment. 11 seconds long. Megan sat on somebody's lap under blue rooftop lights with her arms looped around his neck while her divorced friend Chelsea screamed laughter behind the camera. The guy kissing her temple matched the name from the receipt. Tyler Brooks. 32. Personal trainer. Miami resident. Public Instagram full of boat photos and shirtless motivation quotes. I watched the video 6 times. By the 7th, the pain changed shape. Rage burns hot. Calculation freezes solid. I opened our joint banking dashboard immediately after. Her spending pattern shifted months ago. Small cash withdrawals under $300. Boutique hotel deposits. Rideshare charges around downtown Houston during weekdays while I worked late at the construction office. Tiny fractures. Hidden clean enough to avoid triggering suspicion. Until patterns started linking together like stitches. I exported 6 months of statements into a spreadsheet and highlighted every anomaly. By 4:40 a.m., I stopped searching for proof of one affair. I started auditing a double life. The next morning, I called my attorney before I called my wife. That decision changed the balance of power instantly. Texas favors preparation. My name sat alone on the cabin property in Montana because my father transferred it into a protected family trust 8 years ago. Megan never paid attention to paperwork unless luxury appeared inside it. I spent 48 straight hours moving with surgical focus. Separate account opened. Payroll redirected. Digital backups encrypted. Vehicle title transferred. Cameras archived. Then I forwarded the rooftop video to a private email folder labeled Dissolution. Clean. Clinical. Final. Megan called again while standing in our bedroom. This time her voice cracked. Ethan, where are you? I looked down at the final document resting beside my whiskey glass. The timestamp showed something she still hadn't discovered yet. My divorce filing became official 37 minutes before her flight landed in Houston. People think betrayal explodes like a car crash. Truth feels quieter. It slips into your life through passwords, timestamps, and tiny financial decisions that stop making sense after midnight. Megan called 17 times before sunrise. I tracked every attempt through the shared Verizon dashboard from my laptop while sitting at the kitchen table inside that Montana cabin. Her pattern shifted every 40 minutes. Anger first, then panic, then bargaining. Human beings follow predictable sequences when control collapses. By the 8th voicemail, her breathing sounded uneven. By the 12th, she started blaming her friends. By the 15th, she cried hard enough that her words blurred together. I archived every recording into a separate folder beside the affair evidence. My attorney, Daniel Mercer, told me emotional volatility mattered during asset disputes. Judges love patterns, especially when one spouse spends months building secret relationships while draining marital trust. I gave him patterns. Clean ones. Precise ones. The rooftop video opened the door. The financial audit exposed the full structure underneath. Megan spent almost 11 months constructing a parallel version of herself while pretending our marriage still operated on routine. I mapped everything across 3 monitors inside my office before I left Houston. Hotel bookings lined up beside fake yoga retreats. Restaurant charges overlapped with conference weekends she never attended. A downtown parking garage charged her card every Thursday between 6:10 p.m. and 11:40 p.m. for nearly 5 months straight. Same garage, same time frame, same lie. Then I found Tyler's Venmo history. Public transactions. Laughably careless. Boat fuel emojis. Martini glasses. Inside jokes. One payment from Megan sat buried between them under a fake label that read, Group Dinner. $480. Timestamp 2 weeks before our anniversary. My stomach tightened when I realized something worse than cheating. She enjoyed hiding it. The secrecy excited her. That realization killed the last emotional instinct still protecting her inside my head. I stopped seeing my wife after that. I saw liability exposure. I saw manipulated asset access. I saw future courtroom strategy forming in real time. Daniel pushed me toward immediate containment. Texas community property laws reward preparation more than emotion. We moved fast. I froze 2 joint investment transfers before settlement. Cycles completed. I redirected my construction consulting income into the protected trust account attached to the Montana property. Then Daniel drafted a temporary financial restraint request before Megan even unpacked her suitcase back home. Every hour mattered. Affairs create chaos. Chaos creates expensive mistakes. I refused to make any. Around noon, Chelsea finally called me directly. Megan's divorced friend. The loud one from the Miami videos. Her voice carried that fake confidence people use before asking dangerous questions. Look, Ethan, this whole thing got blown out of proportion. I placed the call on speaker and recorded everything automatically through my desktop app. You mean the part where my wife rented a private villa with another man? Silence hit for 3 full seconds. Then she shifted tactics immediately. Megan loves you. She just needed space. Space. Interesting word. Affairs always come packaged inside harmless vocabulary. Space. Freedom. Self-discovery. Growth. Nobody says deception anymore. It sounds ugly in daylight. Chelsea slipped once near the end of the call. 1 sentence. 1 accidental detail. Tyler already flew back to Houston anyway. I leaned forward slowly after hearing that. Because Megan told me Tyler lived exclusively in Miami. Which meant one thing. Their relationship stretched far beyond a vacation hookup. And somewhere inside Houston, another apartment, another set of receipts, and another hidden life waited for me to uncover. Once suspicion learns your daily routine, every ordinary memory starts looking staged. I spent 11 years believing Megan loved quiet stability because she said all the right things at all the right moments. Backyard cookouts, Sunday grocery runs, anniversary dinners at the same steakhouse outside downtown Houston. She built routines carefully, almost professionally, like somebody assembling camouflage. Looking back, I see the exact point where her attention shifted away from our life and toward the audience watching it. Validation became oxygen for her. Instagram stories replaced conversations. Compliments from strangers carried more emotional weight than anything I said across a dinner table. She started photographing everything. Gym selfies, wine nights, airport lounges, tiny performances designed for invisible spectators. Meanwhile, I kept building tangible things. Commercial renovations, multi-unit office projects, steel framing contracts. My days revolved around budgets, inspections, permits, deadlines. Real things. Heavy things. Megan drifted toward fantasy because fantasy asks less from people than commitment does. About 8 months before Miami, she changed her phone password for the first time in our marriage. Simple detail. Small enough to ignore if your brain still trusts the person beside you. Then she angled her screen away during texts. Started taking late-night walks onto the patio while smiling at messages she never explained. I noticed every shift. Men always notice. We just delay the conclusion because the conclusion detonates your entire identity. One Thursday night, I tested something. I told her I landed a major hospital contract outside Austin and would need to travel for several weekends over the next quarter. Excitement flashed across her face before she covered it with concern. That expression lasted maybe half a second. Half a second tells the truth faster than words ever will. So I created a fake travel schedule. Then I stayed in Houston and watched what happened. Saturday afternoon, her location services placed her at a spa brunch with Chelsea and 2 other divorced friends. 3 hours later, her phone pinged near a luxury apartment complex 20 miles away. Same place again 2 weeks later. Same garage. Same 4-hour window. I rented a black Ford Explorer through a private app under my middle name and parked across the street from the building on the 3rd visit. Around 9:17 p.m., Tyler Brooks walked out first wearing a fitted gray shirt and carrying a gym duffel over one shoulder. Megan followed 2 minutes later, adjusting her hair inside the elevator reflection near the lobby entrance. She looked lighter around him, younger, like she had been rehearsing that version of herself for months. I took 3 photos through the windshield. My hands stayed steady the entire time. That scared me more than the affair itself. Rage means attachment still exists. Calm means the funeral already happened inside your chest. Back home, I opened our shared cloud storage account and downloaded 6 years of tax returns, mortgage records, insurance documents, and retirement statements into encrypted archives. Daniel advised complete documentation before confrontation. Emotion loses cases, he told me during our second meeting. Paperwork wins them. So I built paperwork. I traced every marital asset connected to my consulting business and separated inherited property from community exposure. Then I uncovered something strange buried inside Megan's credit report. A recently opened retail account linked to a Houston address I had never seen before. Different zip code, different utility records, different life. I pulled county property data at 1:43 in the morning and stared at the leasing information until my pulse slowed into something cold and sharp. The apartment sat under Tyler Brooks's name, but the monthly payments came directly from Megan's personal checking account. The apartment changed everything because apartments require planning. Affairs thrive on impulse at first. Secret texts, drinks after work, manufactured accidents. But leases create structure. Monthly payments create commitment. Somebody signs forms. Somebody builds a second life, one utility bill at a time. I pulled the property records through Harris County databases and traced the unit number to a luxury complex 15 minutes from downtown Houston. 900 square feet. Private gym. Controlled garage access. 12-month lease beginning 7 months earlier. Megan funded almost every payment through staggered transfers under $600 designed to avoid attention. Smart enough to hide patterns from casual observation. Sloppy enough to leave a digital trail for somebody willing to dig. I exported the records into a timeline beside her travel history and finally understood why her behavior changed so sharply that year. She stopped treating our marriage like a partnership because she already built a replacement structure behind it. The apartment served as rehearsal space for her future. Around that same time, her divorced friends became permanent fixtures in her life. Chelsea, Brianna, Nicole. 3 women who treated betrayal like personal growth. Megan used to mock people like that. Then slowly, she started speaking their language. You only live once. People outgrow each other. Happiness matters more than routine. Harmless phrases on the surface. Dangerous once repeated long enough. Those women fed her a fantasy where accountability sounded oppressive and selfishness sounded empowering. Every marriage carries weak points. Ours cracked under constant validation from people addicted to destruction. I found their group chat back up 2 days before leaving Houston. Megan synced her tablet to our shared cloud years earlier and forgot the auto storage settings still mirrored attachments. Thousands of messages downloaded directly into archived folders once I accessed the account administrator settings. At first glance, the chat looked childish. Vacation selfies, wine glasses, memes. Then the tone shifted. Chelsea encouraged secrecy constantly. Brianna coached Megan on deleting location history. Nicole joked about maintaining backup plans while discussing husbands like outdated appliances. Tyler appeared in the messages months before Miami. Shirtless gym photos. Screenshots from his social media. Private jokes about his age. Megan replied with flame emojis and comments I barely recognized as her voice anymore. Then I hit the message that froze me completely. Once Ethan signs the Austin expansion deal, his income doubles. Timing matters. I reread that sentence 12 straight times. Suddenly, the affair stopped looking emotional. Strategy entered the picture. Megan tracked my business growth while financing another man behind my back. Daniel reacted instantly after reading the screenshots. He scheduled an emergency filing update and shifted our legal posture from emotional infidelity toward financial misconduct exposure. Courts care deeply when marital assets support concealed relationships, especially in Texas, especially with documented intent. By then, Megan kept flooding my phone with emotional voicemails about mistakes, confusion, and missing me. Meanwhile, her private messages showed detailed conversations about timing the divorce after my largest commercial contract finalized. Two separate versions of reality existed at once. One for me, one for everybody helping her plan the exit. I stayed awake until nearly 3 in the morning reviewing every attachment from that cloud archive. Then another folder appeared during the final sync cycle. Hidden media. Password protected. I cracked the encryption using Megan's old college sorority initials combined with her birthday. Simple. Predictable. Inside sat 37 videos from the Houston apartment. Dinner clips. Workout clips. Vacation planning. Future planning. Tyler recorded most of them casually like they already played house together. Then I opened the final file in the folder and heard Megan laughing while saying 6 words that erased the last piece of mercy still living inside me. He still thinks I need him. Hearing your wife laugh about your usefulness changes the chemistry inside your body. Something shuts off permanently. After that video, I stopped searching for closure and started building distance. Emotional men confront betrayal immediately because they still hope the truth can reverse itself. Strategic men prepare exits. I became strategic. The next 48 hours turned into a controlled demolition of my old life. Daniel coordinated the legal side while I handled logistics. Every asset connected to my name needed insulation before Megan realized the marriage had already collapsed financially. I transferred inherited firearms, family watches, and personal equipment into a secure storage facility registered through my trust attorney. Then I photographed every room inside the house for property condition records. Divorce cases rot from false accusations and rewritten history. Documentation kills fiction. Megan kept calling while I worked. Her tone changed hourly. One voicemail accused me of overreacting. Another blamed alcohol and peer pressure. Then she switched again and begged for a conversation. I ignored every message and kept moving. By then, silence carried more power than arguments ever could. I accessed our home network remotely around midnight and reviewed smart device logs through the administrator dashboard. Most people forget modern houses record behavioral patterns automatically. Garage access times, door codes, guest Wi-Fi connections, device pairings. Tyler's phone connected to our guest network 3 separate times while I worked overnight on Austin contracts. That detail hit harder than Miami. Affairs inside your home carry a different kind of disrespect. I cross-referenced the connection dates against my work calendar and found something ugly. Megan invited him over during the exact weeks she complained about feeling emotionally abandoned. The manipulation almost impressed me. She created emotional cover stories while building physical opportunities behind them. Then another pattern surfaced. Around 6 months earlier, Megan started asking unusual questions about my business structure during dinner conversations. Casual tone, calculated timing. She wanted details about commercial insurance, liability exposure, retirement accounts, future equity from the Austin expansion. At the time, I mistook curiosity for support. Now every question sounded like reconnaissance. Daniel agreed immediately after reviewing the screenshots from her group chat. She expected a payout, he said flatly during our call. That changes motive. So we escalated. He filed temporary restrictions against large withdrawals from our shared accounts and prepared forensic accounting requests before Megan hired representation. Timing mattered because once attorneys entered the picture, narratives would shift fast. I needed evidence secured before panic pushed her into damage control. Around 2 in the morning, I drove past the Houston apartment one final time before leaving Texas permanently. Unit 14C. 3rd floor. Soft yellow kitchen lights glowed behind partially closed blinds. Tyler's black Mercedes sat in the reserved parking spot beside Megan's white Range Rover. I stayed inside the rental SUV watching that building for almost an hour. No screaming. No confrontation. Just observation. Strange thing about betrayal. Eventually your mind stops asking emotional questions and starts studying mechanics. Instead, patterns, timelines, behaviors, weaknesses. Human beings reveal themselves through repetition. At 3:11 a.m., Tyler stepped onto the balcony holding his phone against one ear. 30 seconds later, my own phone lit up in the cup holder beside me. Megan calling again. I watched his silhouette speaking while my screen vibrated in my hand. Then he laughed at something she said. That laugh reached me through two separate devices at the exact same moment. I declined the call slowly and drove away from Houston for the last time. 5 hours later, somewhere outside Amarillo, Daniel sent me a single text message that tightened everything instantly. Megan hired counsel this morning. And Ethan, her attorney, already requested access to your Austin contract files. That text from Daniel told me two things immediately. First, Megan panicked faster than I expected. Second, somebody advised her that my Austin expansion contract represented the largest financial leverage point inside the marriage, which meant Tyler and those friends probably spent months discussing my income behind my back like gamblers studying horse racing stats. I pulled into a roadside motel outside Santa Rosa, locked the door behind me, and spread every printed document across the bed in organized stacks. Commercial contracts, tax returns, trust records, insurance schedules, corporate formation paperwork. I treated the room like a war table because that is exactly what divorce becomes once deception enters the process. Daniel called 15 minutes later. Listen carefully, he said. Her attorney filed aggressive discovery requests within hours. That speed means preparation. Megan expected this marriage to end eventually. I leaned back slowly after hearing that. Part of me still held on to the fantasy that Miami triggered everything impulsively. That illusion died during that phone call. She had already prepared financially for separation before the trip ever happened. Daniel explained the legal strategy clearly. Her side wanted access to projected Austin revenues before final negotiations closed because future income projections could influence settlement leverage. Unfortunately for them, my consulting structure separated inherited assets from operational revenue streams through layered holding entities Daniel helped establish years earlier after my father died. Megan ignored every conversation about legal planning back then because paperwork bored her. That mistake protected me now. They assumed you built everything jointly, Daniel said. But your father's trust walls off most of the expansion exposure. For the first time in days, I felt something close to relief. Small, sharp, useful. I opened my laptop immediately after the call and started locking down every remaining vulnerability inside my digital footprint. Password rotations, two-factor authentication, banking alerts, remote access restrictions. Then I checked our shared cloud drive again. Megan accessed it 37 minutes earlier from Houston. She downloaded copies of my business tax summaries and commercial valuation estimates. Too late. Daniel already transferred sensitive records into protected legal archives under privilege review. Every move she made now landed one step behind mine. Around midnight, another voicemail arrived from Megan. Different tone this time. Colder. More careful. I think people are manipulating this situation, Ethan. We both need to stay rational before lawyers turn ugly. That sentence almost made me laugh. Affairs always become situations once consequences arrive. I replayed the voicemail twice while reviewing one final financial anomaly buried in our statements. A wire transfer. $9,000 sent 4 months earlier into an account ending in 4418. Same account paid Tyler's apartment utilities. Same account purchased flights to Miami. Then I found something worse attached to the transfer memo. Startup investment. I searched Texas business registrations immediately. Tyler Brooks filed a limited liability company 6 weeks earlier. Wellness consulting. Empty shell structure. Zero revenue history. Megan funded the filing fees directly from her personal account. Suddenly, everything connected. The apartment. The coaching. The emotional manipulation. She planned an exit strategy where my money helped finance the next phase of her life. The betrayal stopped feeling emotional after that. It became transactional. Cold. Engineered. Around 2:30 in the morning, Daniel emailed me preliminary findings from a private investigator he hired quietly after reviewing the cloud archives. Most of the report focused on timelines and financial overlap. Then one paragraph near the bottom pulled all the air from my lungs. Tyler Brooks maintained another active relationship the entire time. Same apartment. Different woman. Different weekends. The investigator attached photos with timestamps. Tyler kissing a brunette outside the same building Megan secretly financed. I stared at those images for almost a full minute before realizing something brutal. My wife destroyed our marriage for a man running the exact same game on her. People imagine betrayal ends the moment the truth surfaces. Real damage starts afterward when every lie begins collapsing into the next one. I stayed inside the Montana cabin for 4 straight days reviewing legal updates, financial disclosures, and investigator reports while Megan's world unraveled back in Houston piece by piece. Daniel kept me informed because panic changes people faster than heartbreak ever does. Megan contacted 3 different banks within 24 hours trying to access lines of credit connected to my consulting business. Denied. She requested emergency reviews on 2 joint investment accounts. Frozen under pending legal review. Then she attempted to remove furniture, artwork, and electronics from the house before property inventory completed. That move backfired immediately because the home security system recorded every entry automatically under her access code. Documentation again. Always documentation. Around noon on the 5th day, Daniel forwarded me a transcript from Megan's attorney requesting an emergency settlement discussion. Different tone now. Softer. Less aggressive. Funny how confidence fades once hidden finances start surfacing in court filings. Tyler disappeared during all of this. The private investigator tracked him entering the Houston apartment late Tuesday evening and leaving with luggage before sunrise. No return since. No calls answered. No social media activity. Men like Tyler thrive inside fantasy. Consequences suffocate them. Megan kept sending messages that swung wildly between rage and desperation. You ruined our lives over one mistake. Then 2 hours later, please call me. I cannot fix this alone. By then, another truth started forming inside my head. Megan never loved Tyler the way she imagined. She loved escape, attention, reinvention. Tyler simply played the role she needed during that season of her life. Unfortunately for her, people who build relationships through deception usually attract others skilled at deception too. Late Thursday night, Chelsea finally cracked. She emailed Daniel directly asking whether cooperating would reduce her involvement in potential financial misconduct investigations. That single sentence confirmed everything. They understood exposure had shifted beyond emotional betrayal into legal territory. Daniel scheduled a recorded conference call immediately. Chelsea sounded exhausted. Scared too. She admitted Megan funded most of the Miami trip secretly through money redirected from our shared accounts. She admitted the apartment existed for nearly 7 months. Then she revealed the detail that finally explained Megan's sudden panic after I vanished. 2 weeks before Miami, Tyler pitched Megan on opening a wellness studio using projected divorce settlement money from my Austin expansion. He already prepared draft investment proposals. My wife planned her future around assets she expected to pull from my labor after ending our marriage. I sat in silence for almost a minute after hearing that. 11 years together reduced into projected liquidation value on a business proposal. Chelsea kept talking nervously, trying to protect herself. Then she said something unexpected. Megan found out about the other woman yesterday. I leaned forward slowly. Apparently, Megan confronted Tyler after discovering messages on his tablet inside the apartment. Massive fight. Accusations everywhere. Tyler denied exclusivity completely. According to Chelsea, he told Megan something cold enough to leave permanent scars. You were married when I met you. What exactly did you expect? I closed my eyes after hearing that because the irony felt almost surgical. Megan destroyed our marriage chasing a fantasy man who viewed her exactly the way she eventually viewed me. Temporary. Replaceable. Useful until inconvenient. Around midnight, another email arrived from Daniel containing updated forensic analysis from our financial investigator. Most of it focused on transferred funds and hidden expenditures. Then I reached the final page and saw a highlighted transaction dated 3 days before Megan left for Miami. $50,000 withdrawn from our joint investment account through an authorization request carrying my digital signature. Except I never approved it. Fraud changes the temperature of a divorce instantly. Affairs hurt emotionally. Forged financial authorizations create legal exposure that terrifies attorneys. I called Daniel the second I saw the $50,000 withdrawal. He answered on the first ring because he already knew. "We traced the authorization path," he said calmly. "The request originated from Megan's tablet through your shared home network." I stared at the transaction report while he spoke. Timestamp, device identifier, IP address. Every detail aligned perfectly. Megan used my saved digital credentials to authorize the transfer while I worked a 70-hour stretch on the Austin project. Then she routed the money through Tyler's shell company disguised as startup capital. Daniel paused before delivering the next part. "Ethan, this crossed into potential financial fraud territory. Strange thing about betrayal. Once legal consequences appear, people stop sounding confident very quickly. Daniel filed immediate preservation requests against every account connected to Tyler's company before sunrise. He also secured emergency subpoenas for communication records tied to the transfer authorization. Megan probably expected a messy emotional divorce where guilt and apologies controlled the pace. Instead, she walked into a documented financial investigation backed by digital evidence, cloud records, wire transfers, and metadata trails she never realized existed. Around 11 that morning, my phone rang again. Megan this time. I almost ignored it. Then curiosity won. I answered without speaking. Silence stretched between us for several seconds before she finally whispered my name. Her voice sounded smaller now. Drained. "Ethan, please tell me you know I never meant for this to happen." I looked across the cabin table at printed screenshots from her cloud archive while she cried softly into the phone. Tyler's apartment lease. The investment transfer. Her messages about timing the divorce around my Austin contract. Every piece stacked neatly beside my coffee mug like evidence inside a criminal file. "Which part?" I asked quietly. "The affair? The hidden apartment? The forged authorization?" Her breathing caught sharply after the last phrase. There it was. Panic. Real panic. "I can explain that," she said immediately. "People always say that when explanations no longer matter." Then her composure finally cracked completely. She admitted Tyler convinced her the transfer counted as an advance investment for their future business. She claimed she planned to pay it back before I noticed. She blamed emotional confusion, manipulation, loneliness. Every excuse arrived exactly where accountability should have been. Then came the sentence that revealed everything. I thought we would settle quietly anyway. I closed my eyes after hearing that because buried inside those 7 words sat the real truth. She already expected the marriage to end before Miami. The trip never caused the collapse. The collapse already existed. Miami simply exposed it publicly. Daniel advised me to keep the call short and emotionally neutral. "Every conversation matters now," he warned earlier. "People reveal themselves most clearly during desperation." So I let Megan keep talking. She told me Tyler vanished after she confronted him about the other woman. She admitted Chelsea stopped answering her calls. She admitted her attorney recommended immediate settlement negotiations before fraud allegations escalated further. Her entire support system collapsed in less than a week. Then her voice dropped lower. "I came home because I thought you would still fight for us." That line hit harder than the affair ever did because it exposed how deeply she misunderstood me after 11 years together. She thought loyalty meant permanent access. She thought stability meant weakness. She thought I would absorb humiliation forever because I always handled problems calmly. Calm men scare people once they finally leave. Before ending the call, I asked her one final question. "Did you ever love me, Megan?" Silence answered first, long enough to matter. Then she whispered something so quiet I almost missed it. "I loved how safe life felt with you." Safe. Not loved. Not respected. Safe. I ended the call after that and stared at the mountains outside the cabin window while the final emotional thread inside me finally snapped clean in half. 10 minutes later, Daniel emailed another update. Tyler Brooks had officially disappeared from Houston, but federal banking investigators already contacted his company regarding the $50,000 transfer. 3 months after I disappeared from Houston, the divorce papers sat finalized inside a locked filing cabinet beside my desk in Montana. Clean separation. Asset protection upheld. Fraud investigation transferred into federal review after investigators traced the forged transfer through Tyler's shell company. Daniel handled the final hearings remotely while I rebuilt my life one quiet routine at a time. Early mornings. Black coffee. Contract consulting calls twice a week. Long hours restoring the cabin my father left behind. Real things again. Wood. Steel. Distance. The strangest part about surviving betrayal is realizing peace feels unfamiliar at first. Chaos trains your nervous system to expect impact constantly. Every notification used to tighten my chest. Every unknown number felt dangerous. Then gradually, silence stopped feeling empty and started feeling earned. Megan contacted me less after the divorce finalized. At first, she flooded my inbox with explanations and emotional confessions. Then the messages turned practical. Questions about taxes, remaining property transfers, insurance paperwork. Human beings eventually run out of emotional ammunition once reality settles in. Around that same time, Daniel updated me on Tyler's situation. Federal. Investigators froze several accounts tied to the unauthorized transfer. Tyler attempted to leave Texas twice using different addresses attached to temporary rentals. Both attempts triggered financial monitoring alerts because fraud investigations create digital shadows that follow people everywhere. Meanwhile, the wellness consulting business collapsed before it ever launched. No clients, no investors, no future, just paperwork and panic. Megan lost far more than she expected during those months. Chelsea cut contact completely after cooperating with investigators. Brianna and Nicole disappeared once legal subpoenas entered the picture. Funny how quickly toxic friendships evaporate once consequences arrive. The apartment lease terminated early after missed payments. Her attorney pushed aggressively for settlement revisions near the end, but Daniel dismantled every argument with timelines, metadata, transaction logs, and cloud archives. Facts age better than emotions inside courtrooms. Then one evening in late October, my phone rang while I stood near the lake behind the cabin. Megan. First call in almost 3 weeks. I watched her name glow across the screen while cold mountain air moved through the trees around me. Something inside me already knew this call would feel different. I answered quietly. Her voice cracked almost immediately. Smaller now. Exhausted in a way sleep cannot fix. I finally understand why you left the way you did, she whispered. I stayed silent. She cried softly for a few seconds before continuing. Tyler vanished completely after the investigation expanded. The apartment emptied. Her job placed her under internal review after rumors spread about the financial allegations connected to the divorce. Even her parents stopped defending her once evidence surfaced publicly during filings. Piece by piece, the fantasy life she chased collapsed under the weight of reality. I thought excitement meant freedom, she said finally. I destroyed the safest thing I ever had, chasing people who never cared about me. I looked across the dark water while she spoke and realized something important. Regret sounds sincere once consequences become permanent, but sincerity arrives too late for many people. Megan, I said calmly, you did not lose me in Miami. She stopped crying after that. Complete silence. You lost me the moment respect stopped mattering to you. Another long pause followed. Then she asked the question I knew would come eventually. Do you think you will ever forgive me? I breathed slowly before answering because the truth mattered more than cruelty. Forgiveness and access are two different things. She cried harder after hearing that. For a moment, I almost remembered the woman I married instead of the stranger who spent months planning an exit around my income. But memory can become dangerous when mixed with loneliness. I ended the call gently and placed the phone face down on the dock beside me. The mountains stood still beyond the lake while the last pieces of my old life faded quietly into the dark. People think betrayal destroys you because someone else lies. That is wrong. Betrayal destroys you only if you keep handing your future back to the person who broke your trust the first time. Somewhere behind me inside the cabin, my phone vibrated one final time with a new notification from Daniel. Federal investigators had officially located Tyler Brooks.